This is Seventh Generation Warfare, and I am your current host, John Nelson. In this episode, we'll be doing an unboxing of family documents I received from my mom's distant cousin. This is the second cousin of my mother who has given me information on the bone sack side of my family, and I think with this input of information, I have enough to start compiling some of my family anthology, including biographies and more creative stories about my family members. It's a thing on the internet to do unboxings. I never really understood it, but the my intent with this video is to hopefully motivate you to, uh, you know, reach out to some of your family members and see what gems they might be hiding. I've already actually opened the box and read the letter from my first cousin once removed, which I won't be reading on the stream, but there looks like there's some interesting stuff in there that I haven't really dived into. So that's what we're getting into. So this is the box. Um, I thought I had sent her a flash drive. I thought she was just gonna put some stuff on a flash drive, but it turns out I was wrong. So first things up, we got walking with my father. She has some notes on here. It looks, and she talked about this in her letter. This is this is basically um, a biography or thoughts of Bill Bonesack, who I guess is also my mom's cousin, uh, or no, my mom's uncle. Sorry, this would be my mom's uncle writing about my mom's grandfather, and some of the experiences he had with Maurice Bonesack, my great grandfather, while he was alive. And it's broken down into multiple parts. This is part 4. This is part 5. So I know there's at least 5 parts. Um, I don't know where the other parts are. Or that part 4 and 5 might be something that the lady sending me did, because she has part 2 written on here, and this is something else. So I look forward to reading those, first and foremost. Right here we got a family tree, which this probably... Oh. It looks like let me resort to my master, one of my master family trees. And yeah, actually, no, she has. I can already see that in one spot she goes back an additional generation. So that's a win. I was concerned that it just wasn't gonna go back any further than the information I already have on the family tree. Um, yep. So this would be my great grandfather. So we got great 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 whatever. So that's going pretty far back. We got picture of the Schwepker family. So, and she has an arrow pointing to Odile Schwepker, who is the mother of my grandfather, right there. So that's pretty cool. She said she was pretty heavy on photographs, so um, some more families, pictures of the Schwepkers. I did see some of these in the file sent by my mom's other cousin, but they didn't have very good names associated with them. So um, she has pretty good descriptions of who everyone is. Um, I don't know. She looks like she's in a wedding dress, and she looks freaking young, in my opinion. So who knows how old my my grandfather's mother was when they got married. I might be able to figure that out. Yep, all pictures here. So it'll be interesting to piece that all together. I look forward to doing family trees, both of ancestors and descendants. I think I've figured out how I'm going to sort the family trees in my family anthology because I have a lot of information that goes both ways. Like I have a lot of like I have family trees covering like second, third cousins and things like that. So being that it's seventh generation warfare, I and we're taking that seventh generation concept from the Iroquois Indians that live in a way that is sustainable for the seventh generation. I like the idea that the seven generations are three generations before you, three generations after you, and the generation in the middle, which is you, is the seventh generation. So I think at the start of every section on my descendants, um, I will do a family tree showing, if I can go three generations before them, I'll show that on their family tree, and I'll show three generations after them, and then you can piece it together with, their child will have the same thing. So there'll be a lot of redundancy on there, but you'll always be able to look somebody up specifically and see three generations before them and three generations after them. Is how I plan to do that. John Francis Schwepker. And this is pretty cool. So we're talking about John Francis Schwepker. My name is John Francis Nelson. I was My name comes from John Francis Bonesack. And John Francis Bonesack is my grandfather. John Francis Schwepker is his grandfather. So we got a little lineage train going on here. All John Francises, all two generations apart, but all with different last names. So I suppose my daughter will have to name one of her sons John Francis. Uh, okay. This is just showing people and the names of all their children, basically. Um, a genealogical sheet. There's all kinds of information here. Can't tell you exactly what all that means, but I'm sure it could make sense later. Yeah. So there's some generic genealogical information. Okay, moving on. So so far I have done. This is all the two cousins of my mother that I've reached out to are on her father's side. So, and that's the bone sack side of my family. I haven't really pursued my mom's mother's side. I think it's a hard. It's going to be harder to track down. Um, and I've started to do some of my father's father, the Nelson side, from which I get my name. But there seems to be some dead ends there, which I will talk about in another video. And I should really go after my father's mother's side, the Dunleavys, because there's still several of my grandmother's siblings alive, and they have a pretty good story of how they moved to the town where I grew up during Prohibition. My ancestor, I couldn't tell you the name of him off the top of my head, owned a bar in Yonkers, New York, and Prohibition hit. He had to close the bar, and he moved to Connecticut and opened a dairy farm. And I guess he died shortly thereafter. And the mother, his wife, ran the dairy operation and raised a bunch of kids or something like that. So, um, some information on William Bonesack. Huh. and a picture of him. Likes his flowers. William H. Bonesack Jr. with his oldest grandson, Bill, who wrote the letters about Maurice that I showed you at the beginning, and either Mary Lou or Margaret. Huh. And I've actually already started writing family folklore in which he is included. He's not the main character, but it's good to see faces of these people. That little guy right there is my grandfather, John Francis Bonesack. So that was probably taken in the 30s, 20s, probably taken in the 20s. Pictures of my grandfather's childhood home. I really would like to take a trip to Cape Girardeau area of Missouri sometime, as that is where a lot of this went down. Some more pictures on people. That one's kind of hard to make out. Ah, Maurice. So that is my grandfather's father. Oh, an article. William and Maurice Bonesack were both retailers in clothing, and this is an article. I'll have to read it some other time about the store actually closing. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the date on it. Wonder what the reasons for closing was. Huh? Little brand logo for the store. Bone Sacks, Cape Girardeau's clothing store. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna send a picture of that to my mother. Some more pictures. And then an obituary for Maurice Bonesack, my grandfather's father. Oh, right. That's who that was. So my grandfather's mother passed away in supposedly in childbirth or something when she was birthing, I guess, their sixth child. And my grandfather was pretty young. I don't have much stories about that, but my great grandfather did remarry just a few years before he died, and I think that's who this lady is. So, um, and there's some information on her here, which I had asked my mother's other cousin, who I've been getting information from, if he knew anything about that lady. So that's kind of interesting that I asked and I received. Just I didn't receive from the person I asked. So it does go to that seek and you shall find. We're still rolling here. Hopefully this is interesting. I'll probably send this video to some of my family members at the very least. This folder just looks to have a few pictures in it. Wow, that's gotta be my grandfather. Yeah. So this is my grandfather and all of his siblings when they're older. That would be my grandfather right there. So as you can see, I have my work cut out for me. Um, let me get through this quicker. Talking about this one's talking about some of the earlier bone sacks. I think that's the family tree. More more pictures in there, and an article. Oh, I think I already looked at that one. Okay. Next set of folders, and this is it. But I did want to go over this. I saw this really briefly. I am related to a Joseph Landsman, um, through the bone sack side of my family, and he apparently made a whole bunch of things. Uh, I think this is a covered bridge, and there's a red circle down there. I think his initials are carved into that stone. Um, so, being that I do construction, for a living, I'm very eager to pursue this because it seems like he's credited with some pretty awesome builds. And and talking about seventh generation and the effect that that family can have on descendants. Just looking at some of these things he may have built is like makes me want to improve my business more than anything else that I've ever come across. So who knows? Maybe pursuing family knowledge will actually trigger in me something that helps bring about greater entrepreneurship and greater economic prosperity. So that's the bridge he built right there next to that building. The following Landsman oversaw construction of the following buildings and structures. The first St. Vincent Church, 1838. Priest's Residence, 1838. St. Vincent's Male Academy, 1838. Did a lot of work for St. Vincent's. St. Vincent's Young Ladies Academy, 1840. St. Vincent's College, Block 1, 1843. And First Handball Court, 1843. So those are all projects he did at St. Vincent's. Um, I don't know if he had any work in that building or not. But I think that's the church he helped build. I, what's odd is, although I'm not really a religious person, um, I always thought it'd be really cool to build a church, like not like the new modern churches that are really just metal cans or there's some pretty cheap buildings nowadays passing for churches. I'm talking like something like that is n- not necessarily a cathedral, but certainly an epic building. I'm talking stained glass, big arched beams inside, things like that. Church records show that Landsman was often paid in goods, food, clothes, etc., rather than cash. Um, oh, there's a book about him. In our book, Dear Brother Joseph, The Life of Joseph Landsman by Sharon Sanders, Diana Brandt, the author writes, this cashless way of doing business also explains why Landsman chose another unique method of paying off his plasterers, carpenters, and more reliable laborers. He built them small German-style cottages using bricks and furnished from his own kiln. I have a lot in common with this guy. Because, as my wife would tell you, I've been talking about doing work for people for free. So, the fact that he did stuff cashless, I'm really jiving with that. I don't know what that building is. Oh, according to the family lore, the fourth house on 119 South Spanish was built by Landsman. The window treatments are slightly different, with stone lintels above the windows. So that's what that building was. House at 323 Famous was built by Landsman. It too features same architectural details. Arched windows. Driving around Cape, it's surprising how many homes in older parts of town share these details. Landsman, however, was the only builder in the area who practiced German vernacular. I like that one down there. Landsman often worked as a subcontractor for other builders. The Reynolds house on North Main Street was built using Landsman brick, 51,000 of them to be exact. At the cost of $475, the house was designed by architect Edwin Branch Dean, following the French colonial style. And there's a little bit more description. Looks like I have a family trip in my not too distant future to go check out some of the work of my great great grandfather. Landsman also constructed the St. Charles Hotel River Hotel in Union Mill in downtown area. Structures have long since been razed. St. Mary's German Catholic Church, opened in 1869, has avoided the fate. Landsman served as president of the church building committee, and not so coincidentally, the board hired him to do the brickwork. Pretty impressive. In 1870, county officials hired Landsman to build a new courthouse in Jackson to replace the previous building that had burned. Cape Girardeau Weekly Argus of December. Although I don't know if this is. It says that the courthouse was eventually replaced. I don't know if that was that one or not. So this guy seems freaking legendary. And I am going to be writing family folklore on him. Picture of his tombstone. It seems to be a common thing. The other family documents I got, there's a lot of pictures of tombstones. So I will be able to see where they're all buried. This map clearly shows Joseph Landsman was, as I like to call him, the man who built Cape Girardeau. So orange is built by Landsman, dark orange have been demolished, and the blue are possibly built by Landsman. Gotta keep that map for my family road trip. Joseph and his wife, Jean Hampton. So this is the guy. Kind of looks like Abraham Lincoln. Oh boy, this is fun. Okay, well, let's see what's there. I think that there's a little bit more here, but I don't want to keep you too long. I hope that shows you what gems you might be able to find from your family if you go looking for them. I knew that this guy, Joseph Landsman, was a builder, but I did not know the extent to his capabilities and his work. That seems really cool. I look forward to looking into that. And I'm glad we have so many more pictures of family members. There is those letters. A walk. What was it titled? Walking with My Father, which is about my great grandfather, which I look forward to reading those articles. And all this is going to help me, like I said, start compiling my family anthology. I see it right now is the biographical section will have, like I said, that family tree, 3 generations before, 3 generations after. We'll start with what their name is. Show a little bit of their family tree, where they came from and what they produced as far as family. And then whatever biography I can come up with on them. And it seems like Seems like on my mom's father's side, I should be able to get pretty good biographies about 4 generations back or 3 generations back. So that's exciting. That's going to be a lot of work, so I might actually be short making videos for some time whenever I start to do that. But anyways, I hear my baby crying, and I think I got to go help my wife. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and please reach out to your family to try and find what kind of information like this you can find. Have a good night.